Most men think intimacy starts in the bedroom, but the truth is, it actually begins long before you even get there. And the surprising part? There are secret spots on a woman's body that, when kissed the right way, can unlock not just desire, but trust, emotional connection, and a bond she'll never forget. Most guys don't even know they exist, and that's why she might not respond the way they hope. Stick with me because I'm about to show you 7 powerful zones every man should know. And number 3 will completely change the way you connect with her. I'm Laura Kent, and today I want to invite you into a deeper understanding of connection. The kind that isn't rushed, isn't forced, and doesn't rely on performance. The kind that quietly builds, moment by moment, long before anything physical even begins. Because real intimacy, it doesn't start with touch. It starts with awareness. It begins in the way you notice her, the way you slow down enough to feel her presence, the way you allow space for her to feel safe simply being herself around you. Let's take a moment to understand this. A woman's body is not just physical. It holds memory, emotion, subtle layers of vulnerability that aren't always visible, but are always present. And when you approach her with that awareness, something shifts. The connection becomes deeper, more meaningful, more real. So as we move through these 7 zones, I don't want you to think of them as techniques. Think of them as invitations. Invitations to connect, to listen, to feel. Stay with me here. The first zone, the nape of her neck. Just beneath her hairline, at the back of her neck, there is a space that feels almost hidden, almost sacred. It's not something she can easily see, which means when you approach it, she's not in control of what happens there. And that's exactly why trust becomes so important. This area carries a quiet vulnerability. When you gently move her hair aside, when you pause instead of rushing, when your presence feels calm rather than urgent, something inside her begins to soften. A slow, thoughtful kiss here does more than create sensation. It communicates intention. It says, without words, I'm paying attention. I'm not here to rush through you. I'm here with you. And that message lingers. Because when a woman feels emotionally safe, her body responds in ways that cannot be forced or faked. Ask yourself this. Are you present in that moment? Or are you already thinking about what comes next? Because she can feel the difference. The second zone, just behind her ear. This is a place that often gets overlooked, but it carries a quiet intensity that many don't realize. Think about how close this space is to her thoughts, her inner world, her sense of privacy. It's where whispers live, where secrets feel safe. When your presence enters this space gently, when your touch is soft, unhurried, it doesn't overwhelm her. It invites her inward. A delicate kiss behind her ear, paired with a quiet, sincere whisper, can create a ripple through her entire body. Not because it's dramatic, but because it's intimate. There's a difference. Let's take a moment to understand this. Intensity doesn't always come from force. Sometimes it comes from subtlety, from stillness, from knowing when to slow down instead of speeding up. And in those quiet moments, she begins to feel something deeper than attraction. She feels chosen, not for how she looks, not for what she does, but for who she is when no one else is watching. The third zone, her inner wrist. Now this is where everything changes. Because this isn't about desire in the way most people think of it. This is about awareness. Her inner wrist is soft, delicate, and just beneath the surface, there's her pulse. A quiet rhythm that reflects her internal state. Her energy, her emotions, her presence. When you hold her hand and gently bring your lips to that space, it's not about creating intensity. It says, I notice the small things. I respect your pace. I'm not here to take. I'm here to connect. And that message reaches her on a level that goes far beyond the physical. Stay with me here, because what makes this moment powerful is not the action itself. It's the intention behind it. Most people rush past moments like this. They don't see the value in stillness, in subtlety, in quiet connection. But when you slow down enough to honor something so small, she feels it, deeply. And that's when walls begin to lower. Not because you push them down, but because she no longer feels the need to hold them up. The fourth zone, the hollow of her collarbone. There's a space just below her neck, near her collarbone, that carries both physical sensitivity and emotional symbolism. It sits close to her heart, and because of that, it often feels personal, almost protective. When you approach this area gently without urgency, it becomes more than just a touch. It becomes a gesture of appreciation. A slow, mindful kiss here doesn't say, "I want more." It says, "I value what's already here." And that shift, from wanting to appreciating, creates a completely different kind of connection. Let's take a moment to reflect. How often do people feel truly appreciated without expectation? Not often. And that's why moments like this stand out. They feel rare. They feel real. The fifth zone, the inside of her elbow, unexpected, soft, often ignored, and yet incredibly powerful in its own quiet way. This area isn't commonly associated with intimacy, which is exactly why it can feel so surprising when approached with care. A gentle touch here, a soft, lingering kiss, can send a subtle wave through her body, not because it's intense, but because it's thoughtful. It shows her that you're not following a script, you're exploring her, paying attention to what makes her unique, noticing the details that others might miss. And that kind of attention, it creates trust, because she begins to feel seen in a way that isn't predictable. The sixth zone, her stomach. Now, this is where vulnerability becomes even more present. For many women, this area holds insecurities, quiet thoughts, chafing against expectations, things they don't always express out loud. So when you approach this space, it matters how you show up, not with urgency, not with expectation, but with acceptance. A gentle, respectful touch here can communicate something incredibly powerful. Every part of you is welcome here. And when that message feels genuine, not forced, not performative, it allows her to relax in a way she might not even realize she needed. Stay with me here, because this is not about perfection, it's about presence, and presence is what creates comfort. The seventh zone, her hip bones. Close to her center, close to her sense of grounding, this area carries both sensitivity and symbolism. It represents connection, stability, and a deeper sense of self. When approached with care, it doesn't just create physical awareness, it creates emotional reassurance. A slow, intentional moment here says, "I'm not rushing you, I'm here with you, exactly as you are." And that kind of patience, it's rare, which is why it feels so meaningful. A deeper layer of connection. Now, let's go beyond physical touch for a moment, because sometimes the most powerful connection comes from something even simpler. Placing your hand gently on her lower back. It may seem small, almost insignificant, but it carries weight. This area often holds tension, responsibility, the quiet stress she carries without always speaking about it. When your hand rests there, softly, without pressure, it sends a message. You don't have to carry everything on your own. And if you've ever felt her lean into that touch, even slightly, then you already understand. That's not just physical, that's emotional trust. That's her body saying, "I feel safe here," bringing it all together. So let's pause and really take this in, because this isn't about memorizing 7 places. It's about understanding what they represent. Intimacy is not a moment. It's a process. It builds in the quiet spaces, in the pauses, in the way you choose to show up again and again. From the back of her neck, to the softness behind her ear, from the quiet rhythm of her wrist, to the openness of her collarbone, from the unexpected sensitivity of her elbow, to the vulnerability of her stomach, and the grounding of her hips. Each of these is more than a physical point. It's an opportunity to say something meaningful without words, to express care, respect, presence, to show her that you're not just there for an outcome, you're there for her. And when that becomes real, when she feels it consistently, the connection deepens in ways that don't fade easily, because what she remembers most isn't just what you did, it's how you made her feel, seen, safe, chosen. So ask yourself, are you rushing toward the moment? Or are you allowing the connection to unfold? Because the difference between the two is everything. If this resonated with you, take a moment to sit with it, reflect on it, and when you're ready, gently bring this awareness into your interactions. Not as a strategy, but as a way of being. If you found value here, you can support the channel by liking the video, subscribing, and sharing your thoughts below. And I'd love for you to comment the word cherish, not just as a word, but as a reminder, because that's what this is really about. Not techniques, not performance, but cherishing her in the moments that most people overlook. I'm Laura Kent, and I'll see you in the next one.